30 seconds and 1 minute, but then you miss out on that 2 minute mark where you used to get the spawn, and you have to wait all the way till the 3 minutes and then go from every odd number after that. Does that affect the potential for jungling because you have to like kind of start or stack a bit differently, or does that really have no effect on the likes of a Batrider or a Darkseer, any of those kind of heroes falling back in the jungle?
I think for the most part, when you want to draft a Batrider in like recent months, people have kind of gone away from basically trying to have these big stacks in the jungle for Batrider to kind of go to, because you don't want to create that kind of objective for the enemy to kind of smoke towards and take control of. People have been drafting Batrider in a way that like that you get a favorable 1v1 matchup, and then you pressure a hero with him in the early laning phase, and then he kind of gets his blink dagger, and then you have some heroes that can smoke with him and stuff like that. I think the change doesn't necessarily affect him in that Batrider, like right before the patch, was usually just kind of going to the jungle, taking 2 camps at once, and then getting that 300 gold, like half a level or something, and then going back to a lane. But in terms of just completely jungling, I think yes, it kind of stops that. And now they have a drow, so they're just kind of doing it all over again.
They did this on game number 1, for those of you who missed it. They did a game 1 Drow Ranger kind of a lineup, and that was the game where it was more convincingly in favor of Elements, because Elements, just their playstyle is just, you know, dedicated farm time for someone like Swift and for Cole, and then all of a sudden Swift just goes on a rampage, finding heroes and just kind of making life easier for Cole to be able to kind of just farm up on his own and pull it out, you know, in the like 30-minute clinch. But we'll have to see if OG changes things up differently. I imagine in the second phase they just must ban the Slark. They must ban him. Like,
especially like with Batrider and Drow, I think those two heroes, like, Slark is good against both of them. Like, it's just, I'd be very surprised if they don't. Like, there is a certain amount of stubbornness. Like, when you're very good at the game, like you see something and you lose to it and you go, I should really be beating this. Like, we're just making a basic mistake that we can fix. And sometimes you do get brow beaten down. You realize, like, actually maybe it would just be easier if we got rid of it, and they do. So we'll be seeing a world without Slark, a world that we haven't seen for quite a long time.
What does Swift Ending play outside of Slark? I know you said he plays a lot of different heroes. Obviously, Slark has got to be one of his best, if not his best, but what are some other reputable Swift Ending pickups that we could be seeing potentially?
Well, let me take a look here.
Oh, the mighty, maybe Dota buff will have the answer.
Yes, I'm just looking. No, actually, well, basically, you know, when you're drafting or whatever, like, someone to ask you, like, oh, what hero do you think is a good hero, and like, you just think, like, you just need to see the heroes. Like, it's so much easier to kind of make these predictions when you see the list of heroes.
Casters, drafters and captains, when they get to pick, they have the whole hero list, but here we just get to draw it right from my noggin. I have a second monitor. I could bring up the hero list, but no.
And I have, because I'm cheating, and I'm a very horrible person that does that kind of thing.
You're supposed to be an
Swift
analyst.
Ending.
Yeah, go for it.
So Lycan is not in CM. Luna, he's played that a bit. He used to play Naga a tiny bit. You've got Anti-Mage used to be one of his, but I think AM is slightly weaker after the patch. But he kind of got some buffs, but I don't think he's really going to show up. I don't know if he's even in CM. Morphling, I think, is about the same strength as he ever was, but a lot of other heroes got buffed relative to him, so he might be slightly weaker in that respect. He also played a bit of Ursa, I think. His hero pool's just pretty wide, so I can't really make any... Oh, Void, he had a good Void performance in one of those games. He was one of those people who kind of goes Vlad's from the safe lane and just kind of goes around and fights quite a lot. So I'm interested to see what he kind of goes for.
Ban out on the Warlock too, to help prevent any sort of chaotic bond action. And now we go into our second phase of pickups here. After Elements got rid of Weaver Earth Spirit, can now see what they decide to pair together. Because, yeah, not many options that you typically put Visage with. I mean, obviously Visage has been buffed now, and maybe he's at that point as a support where he could just find himself into any particular lineup. But the Visage of old, it was like, you know, put him with a Drow, got to put him with a Lycan, and if that's what he, you know, want to get the true potential out. So without those options already available, I am anxious and eager to see what Elements do decide to go for instead. You know,
well, before they picked him with the last time they had Visage for Elements, I think it was, they had the Pit Lord, they had the CM, and the Puck as well, so they just had lots and lots of AoE, like, disable, and lots of damage going around, so he could basically pop Soul Assumption whenever he wanted to. The birds were just an added bit of lockdown that he could follow up other people with, and he was just this tanky hero that couldn't really be focused and was just a reliable source of damage. And OG picking up the Wind Ranger, so... You don't usually see this hero very much. I think the last time I saw it was EG playing it. It was Sumail playing it. But Element's picking up the CK, so... Is it going to be the roaming CK? Is it going to be the safe lane CK? Is it going to be the CK of indeterminate value? I don't really know.
It was Gogi who played it last time, right?
Yes, it was. They did a Wisp CK roaming duo.
Yeah.
They just kind of ran around together and had a lot of fun. So.
I could see them doing more get-in-your-face kind of CK action. A lot of people really like to utilize his ridiculous fighting capability, especially at level 1. So, yeah, maybe. You have stun now between the CK and the Nyx.
In fact, it was in that game 1 where OG had Visage and Chaos Knight in the... I thought,
Yep.
was it CK? Did they have CK in that trial game as well?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. He was playing CK in that game as well, so they're kind of turning things around. So let's just see how things go. Oh, here we go, Puck.
Okay, so this has been a Cole go-to hero for a while. We haven't seen him yet today, but he does play this hero pretty dang nice, and is going to be able to kind of be the one to jump also if necessary. If you need to get someone like a Drow Ranger just kind of waiting in the back lines, let's say, Puck should be able to get in there and kind of cause chaos and be able to provide the lockdown. But OG are just really quick to fire back with some of these picks, man. Go right into a DK.
Yeah, I remember Puck versus DK used to be like, I think it was around TI3 where this matchup was seen almost every single game. Like every single Chinese team would always pick DK, and every single European team who played them would always pick Puck. So you'd see like the Supers and the Yaos just kind of constantly just playing DK again and again and again, and then eventually people worked out Puck versus DK. It was a very skill-based matchup back then, but now both heroes are kind of experiencing some changes. I'm not sure how the matchup works right now, but that's probably the mid lane we're going to see, which means Wind Ranger thing, is probably going to go either a support role, kind of seeing how that works with the Batrider, or yeah, it's most likely just support. I think offlane Windrunner is very sketchy.
I remember seeing a lot of like 4-position. I mean, maybe not a lot, but the last time I was seeing like roaming 4-position Wind Ranger was like the first Nanyang in Singapore, and like I think it was, I want to say VG at the time because it was FY. FY's
oh
team
yeah,
at
yeah,
the time
he was doing that.
would
quite a bit, I
occasionally
remember
jump
that.
into the 4-position Wind Ranger, and teams were kind of digging it for a little bit, but we haven't seen much of it since then. I don't know. People always kind of had a stigma against Wind Ranger, pretty much outside of any position that's not middle. For a while, we saw her in the off lane, but people just really tended to stay away from that.
Yeah, Windrunner's like, it's never been a very successful hero. Like, I think whenever, well, except with Drow, obviously, like Windrunner is quite good with Drow, but in other situations when you pick Windrunner, it's because other heroes that would have been good in that situation have kind of been removed or picked already. So, it's like, Windrunner's like, you're never really happy playing Windrunner. I think there's no one right now that's happy playing Windrunner in her current state. But with Drow, like sometimes you just have to do it.
It is nice.
Well, that's at least my opinion.
Perk to have at the start, that's for sure. I mean, if there's a game to pull out a Wind Ranger, it's, you know, a game where Drow Ranger's involved has got to be one of the best, if any. So now we go back
Rubik
to
banning out for Elements and Jug banned out for OG.
So what's left for OG to go for? I mean, Shadow Demon's still out there if you want to go for the old trusty, if you will. But I'm wagering, unless it's Jarek's Wind Ranger, I don't know. The thing is I could be saying that, and then this could turn into some crazy ass like support Batrider. But okay, that's Alina.
Alright, this draft is kind of interesting.
There's like there's 5 mid lane heroes on OG. These are 5 mid lane heroes, Rhyme.
Every single one of these good heroes could possibly go mid, but then I'm sure Drow wouldn't make a very good support, and Windrunner probably not the best safe lane carry. So yeah, it's just things kind of. Let's see how things go. So you got 14 seconds for Elements to make their. This could be a carry. Yeah, it's Lifestealer. As far as games go, you've got Windrunner, who's pretty hard to kill, Drow, who can burst you at some points. You're probably relying on the Puck for your delivery service. Lina, Batrider, and Drow probably the main targets. DK, there's going to be a point where Lifestealer hits Armlet Deso, where DK just suddenly doesn't seem as tanky as he used to be. I think this is a pretty good pick for Elements. They just need to make sure his early laning stage is good, because an on-the-farm Lifestealer against a Drow, he's nothing compared to what a farm Lifestealer is like. He just kind of disappears. So let's hope that doesn't happen for the sake of Elements. But OG, I think if they have a good laning stage and they don't get roamed on by the CK too hard, and they avoid the first few Puck initiations with Dagger, or possibly even delay that Blink Dagger, then they're looking pretty good to try and get a break point.
5 seconds remaining.
Is this actually the preparation period added back in? Okay, that was a long wait. And I
That was
also
a really long
noticed,
time, yeah, I think
and I
it
also
was.
noticed we don't get to see who's picking what hero anymore. So before it'd be like, oh, I'm guessing it's this or that, and then all of a sudden you see like, oh my God, Sumail just got on Oracle. This can't be for real, and then like it is. But we don't get that surprise anymore. It's just kind of like once you hop in the game, you frantically look at the list and be like, okay, who's playing what? Is it weird? And if it is weird, I want to be on it right away. But swift ending on
Alright.
the Lifestealer, it looks like. So it doesn't look like anything too far fetched. But for OG's 5 mid lane lineup, if you will, Yapsor playing the Wind Ranger, and Jerix is going to be on that Lina. So S4 is on the DK, and it looks like he has a mid lane build-up. Still trying to figure out where they're all going.
Yeah, it's S4
here.
playing mid DK. Jarax is probably going to be... Okay, so Notel and Jarax, they're probably going to stay together for as much as possible. Yapzor might roam a bit more, but they basically want to make sure the Drow has a decent matchup in lane. So he starts off with a TP, so in case the Lifestealer goes aggro with the Visage, then they can maybe move the Drow to a more favourable lane setup. He's like trying to work out exactly where he should be right now. He's just kind of dilly-dallying in front of the mid-tier 3, but Trixie will be playing the offlane Batrider, or the 3 position, might not necessarily be offlane or safe lane, we don't really know yet. But Windrunner Lina support duo, you don't really see this very often, or ever.
When it's a game as important as this rhyme, when if you lose, you're out, and the other team goes off to land, like, why not now? Just pull it out now. If you got some funky stuff, and you're looking to experiment with 7.0, and you're like, you know what? Let's roll with Wind Ranger and Alina. This is the time. This is the time.
Oh, he's just paused, and S4's just missed his block, and now he just has to spend the length of this pause time just contemplating why that's happened.
Oh, nice.
Well, that's always a bad feeling.
So apparently, speaking of pauses, Rhyme, there is a bug with that backpack thing. I don't know if you happen to look it out, but people were like, that is not right. Some people were saying that it's like a 2-second thing, but we saw it count down from like 8 seconds. I saw it count down from like 8 seconds at least.
Yeah, I was watching it from like 25, I think.
Damn.
So, yeah, I think if that applies to everything else, and you've got like people just putting... Imagine it's just in a fight, you pop BKB, right? And then someone disconnects, you put BKB in your backpack, and then you just BKB again in the same fight.
Someone,
Like,
quote,
if it applies to other
disconnects.
items, yeah, it's just it's just completely absurd, and yeah, I think there's got to be some people who've discovered that before us and have been abusing that already, so I think we've done the world a service by putting an end to that if we've made it a
You're
little bit more
welcome,
aware.
Frog. I will take the paycheck in the mail soon enough, and so will Rhyme. But here comes Gogi now, looking to utilize that level 1 CK action, gets the pullback onto Yapsor, but of course Yapsor will go right into the Wind Run to avoid...
He's a
further
level
trouble.
1 support Windrunner with
Wind Run.
Windrun. Like, yeah, it's like...
But he
He
looks
just kinda
badass, Rhyme. I mean, look at his set, so, he's got that
Oh,
going.
wow. Very red. Red and black.
It was that last major or journey or whatever it was you had to play out if you wanted to get the set. Yapsor is a true gaming nerd and actually acquired it, so good for him. Now looking to show it off, but obviously only going to be providing right clicks in this lane for now. But Gogi is the big right clicker in this lane and is happy to kind of flex those muscles and force them back so they're not able to get any sort of respectable XP, and they have to even split that XP between the two of them, so a little of an awkward start here for OG in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I'm just watching this mid lane now. So, Cole should just have a pretty good time. I think Puck has had more favourable laning changes than DK in the past few years. S4's played this matchup probably more than anybody else on both sides, so
Yeah.
Cole just kind of showing off that he can do it too. Farming at a tower for a bit. Mitch should have a decent time up here. I don't think they can do too much to zone him out, but he does get deprived of that wave, but then he gets the big camp, so... All in all, I think the bot lane is going to be where things start to happen. Windrunner's
sure.
getting close to her level 2 now. Yeah, she takes the power shot, so she's probably going to be like pseudo offlaning, kind of supporting, while Barrett is going to be kind of offlaning, kind of jungling. But he needs to be like level 3 before he can really start to do that properly.
Well, as S4 makes his return back, we'll continue to keep tabs down here as the levels do begin to trickle in. Swift Ending is just trying to maintain his own lane farm, because if he's trying to play it similar to like he plays his Slark, he's just going to be dedicated to building up the farm until he goes into kind of that Swift Ending zone he likes to get in. And then I'm also curious for Trixie, like he's already venturing out now, but he's stepping far and away from this bottom lane. I wonder if he was just here to help out Yapsor for a little bit and then planned on going to the jungle, but I don't know, the second he steps away from the lane, that's when they already start tickling at Yapzor a bit. So I don't know how far he can go away. He's just going to work with the nearby camp, it seems, and
Yeah,
make
he
a
just
stack.
needs to stack that up, I think. Yeah, he needs to stack that up, and then he's going to get his level 2, and he's probably going to go take that, and then he's going to come back to the lane being like level 3 or something, and then maybe when they hit like level 3 or 4 on both of these heroes, then they can start to do something. And S4 is getting very heavily pressured in this lane, but he's got his salve, so he should be okay.
And he'll salve up a bit. I was also noticing Mitch also getting harassed quite a bit in his lane, but there will be no follow-up from there. And LeBron is also adventure weight from that bottom lane, and now he'll be joining the side of Mitch here moving forward, it would appear. Mitch, though, going for his own move onto Jarek's here. He gets in a good position, he gets a few more shots. One more. Oh, not even. Okay. Gets the high end of the DPS on that one and gets the takedown. First blood goes to Mitch, the off-laner for Elements.
Yeah, this is... I was going to say this was a relatively quiet laning phase compared to the kind of brawl fest we had going on the OG safe lane last time with like the Nyx Ogre, but Mitch is just unrelenting, and he's going to heal up and then he's going to pick up his bounty rune, so...
Ooh. Yapzor also snags a bounty rune here away from the side of Elements, looking to try to race away. Chases on from Cole to get one last little pot shot in, but...
No boots, unfortunately, and even if he did, he wouldn't be quite fast enough. And S4, he's kind of hoping Puck goes around that way and threatening him with a stun, but Puck just kind of loops around and he's going to be completely fine, so...
S4's like, I just want to get him with a stun anyways. Oh my god! That power shot came from another dimension. They buffed that, didn't they?
Oh yeah, it now, they basically, so it's not so good at clearing waves anymore, but it's very, very good at single target damage if there's only one target that it hits. The first target that it hits takes a lot of damage. 220 damage from a level 3 hero. That's
nice.
Yeah.
Top lane, No Tail in a
No
bit
Tail.
of trouble though, yeah. Mitch hits him up with the stun. There goes the soul assumption. It's not going to be enough to get the finish. No Tail will be able to go into his salve and everything will be fine. Okay then, so OG flexing a bit of that 7.0 muscle here with this Wind Ranger pickup, putting 2 shots, or 2 points rather, into this power shot now. I'm very anxious because you will not know he's there as part of the lane, and then suddenly you think that you're going to pull out like a calculated one-on-one where you're going to get the upper hand, and a blast of 200 damage just flies in from another planet, and suddenly it's over.
The range is absolutely ridiculous.
It really
it's
is.
actually-
Look at him. He's like, I'll definitely hit him from here. Can I see the AoE? Yeah, look, he
at
easily
level,
hits the
at
mid
level
lane from
3
there.
he just gets like assassinated as a... It's, yeah, slightly silly. But I'm sure it's balanced by the fact that Windrunner, like, otherwise just is not really going to be able to do that much. Like, Shackle isn't going to be...
Oh, Jarek's
Oh, that's the new Dragon Tail.
in a lot of trouble here as he gets the stun off. Jarek's, though, juking through the trees here to look to hide out, but Gogi is able to get close enough, only into the stun.
Yeah, so I like what they've done with a lot of these like instant cast spells. I think it's Rod of Atos and Dragon Tail. They've basically instant spells that have now been made into very, very quick projectiles, so they are avoidable. You can destroy them. So it adds like a level of counterplay to that thing. And Trixie's going to get gone on, but he might just survive.
They need one more. Oh, he gets it. Come on. That melee range is ridiculous. Nonetheless, Swift Ending's going to be getting a forgiving kill on that one, and suddenly Elements pulling ahead. Now 2-0
No-Tail's
mid
got
lane.
coiled.
Yeah, No Tail into the mix, gets coiled up. They're able to push on forward and get the tower, but it will cost his own life, and it could cost S4's as well. And it does. Suddenly, power shots and Dragon Tails flying in from all over. Not enough, though, to kind of do enough work on the Elements to get a return kill. But here's Trixie now, looking to move on forward. They get a good connection with the stun. There's a power shot. There's a hit. Mitch trying to run back and away. That stun's not going to hit anybody except the Grim Reaper right before him as he does end up going down.
That was a case of being far too patient with his stun. He really... The only way he survives that is blocking at least one of the Lena nukes and maybe a right click from Windrunner. And then he got stunned and he didn't have Carapace up, so he takes the power shot and the full Dragon Save damage, so... Yeah, that's rather unfortunate for him. But I think that's still... They do take the tier 1, so if OG can take advantage of this and like rotate the draw around and make sure they get the map control from taking that tier 1 quite early, then I think it would be worth it, even if they do lose both of those heroes. But yeah, just with the shrines, like they can still TP around this area. They've got this ward down, so they can kind of see what's happening. But if Cole just continues to farm and he can get his Blink Dagger uninterrupted, and
oh my goodness, everyone from OG is pretty much coming down here. 4 hands, 4 pairs of hands, if you will, on deck. But Element's already looking to make their strike onto S4. So when Jarek's and company are looking to come on in, power strike on forward. S4 gets the finish onto LeBron. There's a good shackle, but OG might need to back off now. Gogi's looking to come in. He gets the stun pop. A 3-second stun onto S4 allows Swift Ending to begin to right-click right through him. There's the Rift pullback. He gets off the Dragon Tail onto the Lifestealer, repositions a bit. Cole looking to jump in, tries to get the back mark of Jarix here, and they're going to be able to get the takedown. S4 gets dropped. Now lots of low elements players here trying to retreat away. Nice rage off from the flame break, but they are going to get the finish onto Gogi. Soul Assumption flies in from LeBron, and Trixie will end up going down. It's bloodshed across this bottom lane. Jarix trying to retreat out. Mitch trying to chase. But I think Jarix is already long gone at this point. The fight recap tells us it's a 3-for-2 trade, an advantage for OG.
And yeah, it's just until Lifestealer gets Omnet, he's really not that much of a danger. And even then, he doesn't really put that much damage into the Dragon Knight, who survived a remarkably long time, but he's not really given much space to farm at this point, so he's going to mildly threaten the snakes, but I think, yeah, they're going to wrap around, take this tier 1. They're doing a lot better job of securing early objectives than they were in their previous draw game, I think.
Oh, definitely.
And Trixie, he's just going to walk around a bit, maybe attack some wolves, but walk right into a smoke, maybe?
Yeah, he could end up being the one to tank this gank here. Gogi's already moving in. The pings are out. Here he comes. Hiya, Trixie, how you doing? Rips him right back in. Mitch is going to lock him down with the Carapace. Bada bing, bada boom, he's dead. Power shot comes in, but OG are far from assistance as they double back. They will be able to get the finish onto that tier 1 with the help of No Tail. And now they are on the run, but Cole jumps in with the orb, gets connection with the coil onto No Tail. Now the familiar stuns lock him in place. S4 tries to step in to help out with the Dragon Tail, and they blast and finish off little Mitch right there. Now a shackle to fly, connection onto Gogi, but they are all able to slay the dragon in S4, making it a 1-for-1 trade. An advantage for elements there, but it was a hard commitment with their whole team to only take down the 1. I'm sure they were hoping for a bit more as a response to that tier 1 going down.
So they do lose the tower, which again, map control that you're ceding to the side of OG, but the thing is, they lost their DK. And, oh, let's look, any items on cooldown?
Yeah. No, just a bottle.
No?
Oh, that's
Okay.
a hood. No one has anything. Okay.
Yeah, the thing is, with drow lineups, like, often, sometimes you just go with a whole bunch of ranged heroes, but in a draft like this, you can have the DK who sits in the front, and lots of heroes who sit behind him, throw out nukes, like, stop you from committing so hard into that hero, but if the DK starts dying a lot and is unable to accumulate enough net worth to reliably stand in the front, like he's got a hood now and he's going for a blink dagger, he's not really going to be very tanky, and if he keeps dying, then they won't really be able to channel like the effect of the drow very well. They won't be able to group up and take these towers if their DK isn't really big enough.
Yeah.
And Lifestealer, he's now got his Armnet recipe in his stash. He's probably looking towards either an Equisaber or a Deso. Either one would be perfectly fine. So, oh, he's just about to buy it. I'm trying to tell the difference between the stash and the quick buy. Oh, there's a heal up. So, there's a haste rune on Cole, but he's 1k off his dagger, so they probably just want to play slow for a bit and just kind of play reactive at this point.
Yeah. What about for OG, though? They just got that tier 1 bottom lane. Do you just keep moving on and... Well, they actually look like they already took the tier 1s, so what's next in store for them before they can even advance to tier 2 territory? Is it like bulking up some farm? Is it taking a Roche? What do you got to do on the checklist?
What happened was they took these objectives, but they, as a result of losing several heroes, like Trixie died, S4 died, they don't have daggers at this point, which means that, like, smoking around, they're still reliant on, like, just running into people and getting a shackle or maybe a DK stun from his ulti, which means that they can't really use the map control to its full effect. So they don't have a very obvious, like, let's go smoke with our bat, and then let's get a pick off, and then let's take a tier 2, and then go on from there. Like, they don't really have that, so they're going to go for a smoke now. They're going to try and find Gogi or go for Mitch, and try and maybe push down this lane, and then maybe be in a position to take a tier 2 afterwards.
I think they found Gogi. Yes, they did. He will be tanking the smoke here. And at that moment, that's when Mitch decides to peace out.
Yep.
Now, elements
and
could...
they just ping on the tier 2.
Yeah, ramp up in the other lanes if they'd like, but oh no, No Tail actually TP's back to the mid lane here, so it's not looking to hand over a tower too fast on this one.
Yep, so this is what they need to do. They just need to keep getting pickoffs. No Tail just needs to acquire items. He picks up his Dragon Lance, and he's probably going to go straight into a Hurricane Pike after that. Yeah, so... Oh, Jarrek's in trouble.
He's eating hard. I don't think Mitch can finish him off You need assistance here, and that's where Swift Ending comes in with assistance from Cole.
Oh,
now they look to
S4.
Swarm as a follow-up onto S4, and it looks like there should be an easy two-man takedown coming in from Elements, striking the side of OG without them even knowing what's coming. All set up from Mitch, of course.
Yeah, they had no right to be there. They had no one anywhere nearby. They didn't know where anyone from Elements was. Yeah, just caught out of position, I think. Yapsaw, he's just going to be farming bot. He's going to pick up his 4-star fairly soon and be the saviour from the Lifestealer. So that force will be very, very appreciated by both the DK and the Drow. But the tier 1 might as well just be going down on top lane.
Nice thing, though, it seems for OG is they're going to get some good damage on a tier 2. It looks like in the bottom lane, No Tail and Yapsaur, both of our lady archers, going to work here, sieging themselves, and they could do some good quick damage.
Yapsaw just pinging out. He just misses the power shot completely. He goes, nope, no one saw that. He just pings it out. So,
Man, that thing's crazy.
Jarrek's just defending this tower. S4's going to TP up here, try and farm a bit. He's kind of decided the Blink Dagger was not an option, so he's going to go for that Hood now. Because he's very vulnerable just getting blown up by Puck and Visage alone. Which pretty much was what happened when he got picked off there. They just kind of used their nukes and he exploded. So preventing that is probably in his best interest.
Yeah, him getting that, and speaking of Blink Daggers, you know, Trixie is trying to get one of his own. He's close, but man, he's running into a lot of frickin' mud golems.
Oh,
Slowing things
Mitch
down
is
a little
running
bit.
around. He's got a visitor.
He is a Nyx bomb, armed and ready, rolling deep, but not able to find a target, if you will, to detonate on. So Swift Ending will settle for the Ancients instead, and they'll get back into the grind of their own farm. Recent item acquires. Obviously, Cole's been able to finish out what looks like his Blink Dagger. Yapsaur has a 4-staff waiting for him. Trixie's able to finish out that Blink Dagger as well. So I feel like this is going to be when we start to see some of the fireworks here.
Oh, I didn't really pay attention to Drow's talents, but he's got some fairly nice ones. +5 to all stats. You got 175 health or attack speed. You probably go for the health. The precision or damage, that is quite a big thing.
For at level 20, that is really nice.
And then the level 25, I think you can get 25 agility or the +350 distance. That's quite a lot for Gust. You get caught without a BKB and you just go flying across the screen. You just go get sent flying back to your own base. So I kind of want to see that, but is Drow really going to get to that high levels, or are things going to go wrong?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a Drow lineup at the end of the day, and if you're doing things the way you would like to when you intended to go into a Drow lineup, you'd be hoping to be close to closing a game out before it even gets to the level 25 talents. But here is the gathering from OG. Who's got the purple stuff? Anybody? No one? Where's our smokes at? There it is. Maybe you had to wait to pull it out from your nice little dank backpack, if you will. And now they pop it, and they go en route here, planting wards and
down, yeah.
scavenging for anyone from Elements. They are still mid lane. Is there going to be a flank from OG? Doesn't seem like it. They're waiting to see if maybe Elements come to them.
Well, there's a Puck bomb in their own smoke, so, but he's not really going to find anyone. So fortunate timing for OG.
Or fortunate timing for Elements, if you look at it that way, Ryan. Uh-oh.
Well, not for Gogi.
Not for Gogi, though. Very unfortunate, as he will get gusted, blasted, and shot down from everything.
God, that power shot hurts.
It just comes out of nowhere, and it does a nice blazing 420 damage. Would you know it? It's ridiculous.
It really is. So Cole's got his dagger. He's just waiting around. He's got Lifestealer inside him. Like Nyx, his farm's slowed down quite a bit. He's not really like that super farm Slark of previous eras. So
OG see him.
gonna have to make do.
They have that ward up on the high ground, and they're looking to catch their approach with a sentry, and it will work. Mitch runs right under it, and they get a beautiful connection of the shackle shot, and they're going to look to blast down Cole on top of it. They wait for the package to come out in Swift Ending, and then they hog tie him up with Trixie's lasso, and he's not going to be able to make it back in a way. Nice 3-man takedown comes out from OG, and they are just on a rampage here, as they will also get Gogi down. OG looking the hottest they have been in this series. They'll secure it with a cherry on top, being that tier 2.
So OG just, their laning phase has gone pretty well, and they've caught Elements out, and that's a bit ambitious. Visage is a very tanky hero. He
Yes,
doesn't
he
really
is.
appreciate being gone on his tier 4s.
Oh, Jerix. Try to TP out. Fortunately, he was under the tower, and the tower shots. He goes down. Jump in deep from Cole here to be able to get the grab. Nice coil connection. A follow-up stun is also there, and they're going to be able to take down No Tail. Ooh, looks like Elements are going to be able to get some sweet treats. as a response play and a hold-in. OG, you know, obviously a bit of a overzealous maneuver there inside the base. Oh, Carapace stun. Going to miss the mark with the follow-up stun, though. Trixie should be able to make it way. But, yeah, I mean, at that point, is it just take that tier 2 and the fight you already got and leave? Or was it...
I mean, they could have taken the tier 3. They could have had that DK hitting the tier 3. They couldn't have gone any further. Then no one would have got hit by the tier 4s. Like, S4 had no business trying to dive Visage at that point. You see he's got a medallion. You see he's level 9. He had 3 points of Gravekeepers. They were never going to kill him. And I think LeBron Greta took it personally and decided everyone was going to die, so he made a point to take every single kill with Soul Assumption. So he's got 1.4k now. We're probably looking towards a Solar Crest or an Atos or anything he really wants at this point. So OG took something that was amazing. They took a really good fight. They completely outmaneuvered elements, and then just in a second of incorrect decision making, like they just go for a dive and then they didn't throw it all away because they have that tier 2 down, so they're in a very good position to kind of farm their own jungles now. Notel's got his Shadow Blade coming. He's probably going to farm this Ancient stack, and he's going to have that going for him, and they still have these aggressive wards, so they still have the farm advantage for now, I think.
They do. It's just what would have been like a 5k net worth advantage is just cut right back down to a 2k, so it would have been a nicer, more heavy-handed advantage, but Elements now able to kind of pick up enough for themselves to be able to still be a formidable foe in some of these fights. But OG not going to slow their roll as far as objectives go. Moving in bottom lane, they're going to look to clear out this tier 2. That leaves only one more tier 2 standing here for Elements at the top lane. As money continues to roll in. Yapzor now moving in, gets a medallion.
Solar Crest up on the Visage now. Puck looking towards a Dagon, getting closer and closer. So when he gets that Dagon, he's probably not going to use it on S4. He's probably going to try and find Notel on the back line, or possibly try and kill the Lina or the Winrunner very quickly. The Nyx, his job is probably going to be batter at a control center, so he's going to be watching out for the Firefly, catching with the Carapace, and then he's probably the one that Nyx is going to follow up on the most. And CK, he's probably the support hunter as well. So Elements, it's kind of obvious what they need to be doing. OG, they just need to maintain their net worth advantage. They need to move carefully as a unit, and they need to just get a good lasso and try not to get caught out by the Puck Nyx bomb. And if they do that correctly, I think they've got a relatively clear path to taking the next tier 2 and the Shrine.
Ooh, S4 is pretty far from his team, but fortunately for him, Mitch is not going to be able to find the target with the stun. OG were already en route to be there as assistants. Let's see if OG turned this into more of an offensive move. It doesn't seem like it right now. Do have a smoke in the backpack of Jerix here, but might just opt to hold back and wait before they get some use out of it.
OG just deciding they want to sentry the entrance to their own jungle. They don't feel like playing very aggressively at this point. Everyone seems to be warding very defensively. You can see these two wards very, very close to each other. S4 walking invis under them, however. He's going to go undetected for now. Notel shadow blading through. Uh-oh.
They're close, though. Cole's right there. He has the infest. They're going to go for the silence. He needs some help. They got the stun lockdown. Can they get the burst on Cole? He's able to jaunt and step away, and that's when the bomb comes out, and that is when the trap card is revealed. OG in trouble. 3-man coil is going to be connected. S4, though, manages to stay alive. They get a good stun and nukes, and we'll get the finish on Mitch. Eventually, though, they will get the grab onto S4, and then get the blow-up play onto No-Tail. Elements right back into action, just as OG seem to be able to take off with a good advantage down that mid lane. Elements have just taken everything right back with a 4-man takedown. Only Yapzor to survive. Elements will just hustle down this mid lane and try to quickly take a tier 1.
Yep. Beware of pucks in front of you bearing gifts, because there may be lifestealers inside them, and there may be Nyx assassins and visages right behind. So Puck lives because of the Solar Crest, and then he gets all his spells off. So you use pretty much everything immediately, and you don't get anything out of it. So I think that was pretty much worst case scenario. They didn't get to use Lasso, they didn't really get to use Laguna. DK didn't really get to put any of his damage out, and Drow, he just kind of got caught out by the Nyx and the Nakes. So just again, Elements just being one step ahead there. So OG, I think they need to kind of take a look at things, realize that they need to kind of catch the Nyx out. They need to be very, very well aware of where all of Elements were. As you saw in the fight where they caught the Nyx and the Nakes out in the the left Radiant jungle before when they took the tier 2.
Mhm.
That was because they knew exactly where they were, they knew what they were dealing with, and they didn't have to worry about the puck kind of catching them by surprise. So I think they just need to be a little bit more careful with how they take these fights.
Roche time, it looks like. Elements want to do it. Lots of them TPing up towards that close and nearby
I think
shrine.
they're going to smoke again.
And then they scan the area. I wonder if they updated the new Roche spot and then like the scan in that area. You know what I mean? I wouldn't put it past that you could still scan inside the pit with where it is now, but we'll see.
There's no way they make an oversight like that, right?
No way, right? Like backpack cooldowns or whatever.
I'm sure everything will be fine at some point. It's just
KDA
another thing
top
on the
of
list,
net
you know?
worth. It's fine. It's just the list. They got to get through the list, guys. They got lots of bugs to squish.
Well, OG do still have a considerable like net worth advantage. Like they do have the DK, the Windrunner, and the Batrider all sitting together at like the 6k net worth mark. It's just a question of can the Puck and the Nyx really get stuff done together, because they're two heroes that are relatively high on the net worth, but they do need each other to kind of operate properly.
Yeah.
So if one of them dies, then the other one becomes much less effective. So OG have a, I would say, a more obvious choice of how to take these fights, whereas Elements, they just kind of have to go in and hope for the best and catch OG out, which they have been doing very well to this point, but I think now everyone's getting a little bit more tanky. DK's got a dagger coming out to him, I believe, so OG are getting a little bit more leeway to take these fights.
It's very pressured, though. I mean, you're already mentioning the defensive wards here from Elements, and it just still seems quite crazy. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, and then another couple just up here. Just all to make sure they have that Roche area covered. Elements, obviously. I mean, have we ever seen Elements even at like a LAN? I mean, maybe they've been to like a couple of local LANs or something, but you know, this would probably be their biggest like Dota appearance if they're able to get a win here on OG and make the trip out to Croatia for the Dota Pit LAN.
Oh,
Could be an
S4,
opportunity for them to be able to make a miracle. S4 going in for the rune. Might have blinked himself into too much trouble and gets blown up. That leads to a coil connection on not one but two. Yapsor's going to be forced to snap the coil and get stunned, but at least it gets some space to make it away from trouble to go down right away. And Elements, with this numbers advantage, look to get the finish on this tier 1 and then could backpedal for the Roche.
I really do like that. They go for the smoke and they're considering walking to the enemy jungle, but someone pings out the invis and says, hang on, let's just wait. Let's just wait and see what happens. And as a result, they get 2 pickoffs, and Puck and Nyx ascend into the stratosphere in terms of net worth, and Visage is creeping up. He's got his hood now. He's getting harder and harder to kill, and I don't think he's going to really be falling over anytime soon. Although I may have just cursed him. So.
The new late game Visage is, I'm eager to see. Do you think
Yeah,
late game Visage is even stronger than what it was before?
I think so. I think the changes to his familiars and how they work means that like they benefit a lot more from like the armor increase as well. I think they get like armor, so you can get like AC and stuff like that, and
yeah, you're right.
Kind of favor them that way. So yeah, he just seems stronger late game, and his Ag seems better, and his Gravekeepers makes him a lot harder to kill. He's just a better hero overall after the changes, and also he's kind of well suited to the way these fights work, because if you fight often and you fight with your cores in front, like you've got these Nyxes, these DKs in front, and everyone's taking damage for you, and everyone's taking lots of damage for Soul Assumption, then you get to be a turret, and he's going to get caught though.
Ooh, he's running back towards his team. The jump is there from Trixie, but a good connection from Cole to slow them down, and he'll get possibly the burst on Trixie. No, can't quite do it yet. It's going to be Cole who ends up going down first. They will end up connecting with that Soul Assumption and getting the return fire, but now they're looking to go on to S4 here. He's trapped between trouble, and then he gets nuked down again. Double kill for LeBron. No Tail, though, able to secure a double kill himself, but now it's OG on the run. Jerix, Yules, dodges out the stun. He comes back down to the earth, but it's straight down 6 feet under as he gets quickly put into his grave. Yaps were trying to slow them down with the shackle shot, but they have their eyes on the prize, and it's No Tail. Nice little force. Gets them out from trouble, but eventually they are able to catch up. Now, trying to go into Shadowblade to hide. They have the dust too. Man, No Tail pulling everything he can, him and his team, to try to keep him alive, but it's not going to be good enough. Eventually, Swift Ending will be able to nab that one. Now, Yapsor, who've been hanging around to help out, could be a bit in trouble.
Oh,
but
no
hey, he
way.
manages to do a little bit of a do-si-do, if you will, around the tree, and it seems like he might have just avoided any further trouble. And now with that, Elements are going to have to backpedal out of there and just be happy with the few pickoffs they were able to get.
Well, I said they caught out LeBron, but I think it was kind of the other way around. I think he was more than happy. He was just sitting there with everyone hitting him. He just pops his hood, he pops his solar crest, and yeah, he just didn't take much damage. And it took Drow, like, had to kind of get away. He had to be force stuffed away by his Batrider, and then he had to deliver that damage from a bit further away. And then even then, he just turned around and kills the DK. So that fight kind of worked out how Elements wanted it to. And Puck was right there, able to stop the Batrider, kind of dragging the Visage right into the heart of his team. So spared LeBron the brunt of that pickoff. And now I think, with the Deso and looking towards an AC on the Lifestealer, I think Elements are in a pretty good position right now.
I would think so too. They've taken their biggest net worth lead of the game, pretty much their only significant net worth lead of this game so far. XP has been theirs for quite a while now as it approaches 10k.
Oh, you got it. DK's got it.
DK's got... What does he got?
He's got the Ags. He's got... That was very early for support CK.
Oh, CK. I thought you said DK.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
No,
Oh,
CK's got
right.
it. He's got the Ags.
Hmm.
So, but honestly, something about Lifestealer illusions doesn't really seem like the most impressive thing in the world, but you never know.
I'm excited. This will be the second time, Ryan, we've seen this, right? We saw it in... I believe it was their...
Oh yeah, we saw it
They
in the
played
game.
it, right? They had Tiny?
Yeah, it was Elements, and they had the Wisp CK, and he had a Tiny on his team, and it was with CK, both supports. And then he got the Ags, and then he just made illusions of a Tiny, who then had really weird, like a bugged Ags thing, but it looked very funny. But he did a lot of damage to buildings.
Ooh. S4, close to trouble, gets spotted out. Mitch is going to connect with the stun, and now they're going to get the finish with the Soul Assumption. Jumping in Trixie, he's going to get the lasso pullback. Good shackle, but briefly locks him in place. They will be able to get the blast onto LeBron, but there's going to be the coil connecting onto 2. Swift ending, just casually rolling on in. Phantasm is going to be used, but it's going to be used on the CK on this one, and they're just getting shot down by No-Tail here as they slowly inch back. They are slowly crumbling away onto these cores. Elements in trouble, they will lose both of those mighty cores. And it's a frantic Mitch just trying to stun and make it out. OG, in what looked like a better map positioning, were able to kind of coax Elements Gaming into an awkward position and just slowly shot them down.
Yeah, they managed to funnel the Nakes and the Lifestealer together, and then they basically took the brunt of the Leader Nukes and the Windrunner power shot. And this Solar Crest on Yapzor is actually like paying huge dividends at this point. It means they can't really focus No-Tail. The Lifestealer isn't able to get this massive physical burst damage that you would expect, and cooldown check.
Nothing. But
Nope.
Mitch was spotted right near the Roche pit because it's obvious that OG are trying to get there to do it right away. But Mitch is going to try to slow them down. Cole is en route. Obviously without a coil though. And let's see here. Visage, who is our disconnecting player, unfortunately, is about to come back, has a TP, and remember guys, we have these shrines now, so when he TP's back into the game, he's TPing like just right outside where the Roche pit is, so he will be able to get in this fight right away. Swift ending though will need a lot more time. So is this looking like OG are going to be able to kind of move in and just take the Roche, or do you think Mitch
with 30
plus
seconds
LeBron
of
can slow him down?
30 seconds of leeway with a Solar Crest and a Windrunner, like they can just ult it with Windrunner and then just hit it with Drow. And I don't think it's going to last very long. Like, Puck could throw in some nukes, but he doesn't really have any defensive items. He doesn't have the Yules up yet. He's got a Dagon 3, so he can't really like kind of Yules himself or like do any fancy stuff to stop them roshing. So I think there's a good chance that OG end up taking this. Unless they manage to burst Jarix or something like that and then turn this into maybe like a 3v3. Or a 3v4, rather. Actually, Batrider isn't here, so yeah, 3v3.
Yeah, Batrider all the way at the bottom. And No-Tail's also pretty far. But I don't know. We'll see. Unfortunately for Elements, they've been having some connection issues throughout the day, so we've had some frequent pauses here, unfortunately for LeBron, and it looks like they are going to be restarting his PC, so we won't be waiting just a little bit longer on this one. For those of you just tuning in, it's the Dota Pit Season 5 European Qualifier, and you've unfortunately missed pretty much all of the qualifier. This is potentially the last game, as you can see by the indicator there at the top. It's Elements up 2 to OG 0 right now in this best of 5, and they're looking pretty good here for a potential 3-0 closeout, but this has been the best game for OG, I would say, in this series, at least as far as being able to kind of hold the advantage and possibly looking to kind of at least push this into a game 4.
Yeah, I think OG look pretty good in this situation. Like, they've just won a fight, they've got almost at level 18 on Drow, so level 3 ulti. They're getting more and more damage. He's got the Ags up. You've got the whole assortment of Force Staffs and Yules and defensive items that you need. So, yeah, I think they're looking pretty good to take this game, honestly. The Nags and Puck aren't quite far enough ahead. I think the Visage, although he was very tanky now, he kind of has been picked off in these fights now. And I'm just worried that like the CK's impact has really kind of fallen off. Like even with the Ags, like he just got nuked down by the Windrunner and the Lina, and he just ceased to really have an effect.
Yeah, what are you trying to do with this Ags? I mean, my initial impression was he's probably just going to throw it on like Swift Ending or something, but
just yeah, because like the Phantasm, it won't gather the other illusions, so like it doesn't really reality riff with them, so you can't really use the bonus damage like that. So you kind of forfeit the ability to get that burst damage for yourself. So you can use it like with the reduced cooldown, and you can also have like do it with quite a large cast range. So
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I like the cheeky play with the tiny, but in this particular game, yeah, I also am not super sold on the Agnum Scepter. Just the reduction of 20 seconds doesn't seem to be good enough, and I don't know if they're in a position where casting it on Swift Ending or something is like game ending in this or not. So we'll just have to see how things will continue to progress here. Taking level 3 and a Yules in works for Cole. But I don't know. That's about it. Outside of that, I'm excited to play some more 7.0 today, but not if it involves more of that Monkey King.
Yeah, I enjoyed Monkey King. There's something
Have you been playing Monkey King?
I've played a few games of him. I played like him in the NAL or something like that, and just kind of walked to the offlane, found some support heroes, and hit him 4 times, and pressed my Q button, and then everyone died.
What do you think is his position? Like everyone's like, "Oh, I'm roaming support." Some people are like, "Nah, late game isn't really for him."
I think he's like, you pick him in the offlane, and I think you pick him with a hero that can kind of fight with him. Similar to like how you've seen like Nyx kind of been going, and he's kind of been helped out by Visage. In the previous game it was Ogre laning with him. I think in a similar respect to that. But he's got a kind of awkward power curve in that he's very, very squishy. He dies very, very easily. He doesn't have any escape. His ultimate is rather hard to use properly. Like people are still figuring that out, and he needs to be very careful with how he uses his charges on his passive. So it's going to be a while before people properly figure that stuff out. But I think the most success I've seen him have is in the offlane with a little bit of help.
Yeah, what I see from him is he jumps out of the tree and beats the shit out of me, Rhyme. And I die as an ogre in like 3 hits, usually. I don't... And every game he seems to have like 20-something kills.
When he gets ahead, he does stay ahead for the most part. But when he doesn't have a good start, it's very, very hard for him to kind of get off the ground, because like if you have a good start, you can man fight almost any hero. Like an Ursa, yeah, you can kind of man fight him. You can just kind of save your stun for when he ulties and just kind of get out if you want. You can man fight Lycans, you can man fight all kinds of things, but when you're behind, you're against like the Slarks of the world and lots of disable. It's very, very hard for you to kind of stay in your ulti and do lots of damage. So he has his weaknesses, and I think people will figure those out in due time.
Still paused up as we continue to wait. Elements with their connection trying to get a restart here. I don't know. I actually don't know Dota Pit's like terms and conditions as far as pause time is what counts and what doesn't count. But we'll continue to wait it out here. The journey that they had gone through to make it to this point here, and you know, we could see if there's anything that they might have gained. Elements had started... Well, Elements already had a bit of a comeback here. I didn't realize it because I guess I didn't catch the first round of this Dota Pit qualifier, but they actually lost to Alliance 2-1, only to eventually face them yesterday, as we witnessed, and bring them down. So they are a team that can adapt, and it does look like we have a game, so let me get back into it and shut up. So there we go. But okay, my mouse isn't working right now. Yeah, we're back in. Okay, so Mitch showed himself, and that's when Cole jumped in forward, got the blast onto Jerix, and LeBron did end up TPing in. He TP'd to the shrine, but that's where No-Tail and Yapsor both were. So he ends up just feeding himself over just after dying previously. And that still seems to be more than enough for OG to kind of move into the pit and go to work.
Yeah, this could have been so good if LeBron just was a little bit more patient and waited for maybe Gogi to come up. But he sees the pick off on the Lena and just kind of get some impact to us.
I think it's too late though. That was enough time though to stall OG from going into the pit and getting a head start. That Swift Ending is back now. They have everyone now at attendance with the exception of LeBron. S4 confidently jumping right into the mix. The Carapace though is going to be stunning him, and now it's going to be the bomb. Two-man stun connection right after Trixie goes in with the lasso. Can they burst down Cole? Yes, they can. With that power shot, they will take out the Fairy Dragon. But OG are on the run back. No Tail is very low, and Swift Ending and company are trying to get in there. But man, Swift Ending can just barely run anywhere, it seems like, without that vehicle. Luckily, it seems like they will be able to get a hold onto Yapzor and will do work onto that. They get OG out of the neighborhood, and now they could be the ones moving into the pit and claiming the Aegis for themselves.
Oh, I'm very, very silly. I thought the CK Ultimate like made illusions for that player, but no, it's like an SD, sorry. So you can still do the Reality Rift. I was thinking about it incorrectly.
I saw that. Don't worry about it. One person in chat knows the answer, and everyone's like, yeah, he's right, yeah, and they all just jump onto him, so don't worry about that hive mind. Possible.
Yeah.
Not they all didn't know that either. Come on.
Just the first time really thinking about it. So, Gogi just going to push out this lane a bit. They're just going to group up together. They managed to save the Roche for the time being. Yeah, so they're just going to sit around and hope someone from OG kind of shows themselves. But
Really tense.
I don't think they have any intentions of doing so.
But they don't want to go far. They're just going to wait for everyone to come back, and then they will teleport to their own shrine. Scans will be thrown out. Mitch, though, will be the one to pick up Swift Ending here, and this Uber service rolls right into Roche's house and right back out. This is tense. Power shot to Scout. Jarek's checking it too. So who do you think this Roche is more important for in this game, Ryan?
OG certainly. Just for the Drow. Or Drow with the DK, but I think mostly the Drow.
Oh, there's the pop. Jarek's, though, able to get off the Yules, will avoid it. But S4 does get stunned down a bit from the familiars. And that could be the end of it here.
Oh, they're setting up this Infest Gank right on top of a ward, so... And no familiars for 2 minutes, so... Fighting right now? I don't think that's in Element's best interest.
You say that, but I don't know. We'll have to see if Elements feel that way. They're still scouting to see if the Roche is in contention here by OG, but now they eventually just kind of step off to the side, farm the nearby camps at least. But overall for both teams, they're not looking to really extend their leash too far from Roche, as he's just slowly regenning himself back up.
Yeah, I'm just looking through like various talents. Like Winrunner's talents seem fairly basic. Level 25 talent, she just power shots everywhere, but that seems fairly silly. Barrier and DK just becomes even more of a big tanky DK, so... But they are just kind of sitting here. One team under a ward, the other team just on the low ground, so...
Oh, jump in from S4 right away. The orb comes out and he wants to make his mark. And Elements need to backpedal a bit. They have this high ground advantage. Cole comes back down and he's going to get blown up. Now the lasso pullback for Swift Ending. A great time to open up here for OG. He's going to have to frantically run back into the action. Gogi valiantly dives into the fight, gets blasted with the finger, and now could be shot down. Will go down. Elements lose 3, and now Swift Ending could be the 4th one to get popped, and there he goes. All 5 from Elements end up getting dropped now. OG move on forward. And they'll try to get some base work in, maybe force out a buyback or so. The only one who even has a buyback is the CK, but this will easily secure what looks like a tier 3 and some Rax damage. And then always backpedal for the Roche. It looks like OG
this is a full lane of Rax, I think.
have definitely pulled way far and ahead in this game. They're even going to make more out of it. They go right to the bottom lane now, and look at the work they could do on this tower. The power of the Drow.
So, yeah, they didn't put a sentry down, so they just had full vision of the Puck, and Puck tried to get out, but couldn't quite do it, so losing the Puck very early on, then losing their Visage and then Nyx in quick succession, they just can't really fight without, like, the duo of Puck and Nyx, so... And now Drow just kinda gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and with the Hurricane Pike coming out on the courier, it's not gonna get any easier to kill her.
This is going to be a tough fight out here for OG. They smoke, but I think it was under the vision of that ward inside the base. So this is not going to be a surprise approach from Elements. OG frantically rush back into the high ground near their shrine, and they could wait here for the approach of Elements. Elements thinking that OG are already inside the pit. They go inside to check it out, but they will see nothing. And now they know that OG are just 2 steps ahead of what Elements want to get done right now.
Yeah,
they're going to go in anyways.
Very, very good about establishing map control and just having full vision of Elements at all points. And every single smoke that they've seemed to have done this game hasn't really worked out. So, yeah, OG just seemed like this game to be more well aware of what's going on. And LeBron, his farm is kind of stalled. Gogi, he's thinking of getting a Blink Dagger. Lifestealer, he had dreams of getting an AC once, but those times are long past. So it's all about, can they turn this Roche fight around, and will they be able to stop the Drow before she picks up that Aegis?
OG, you're going in. It's time to do it. And now it's time to not.
Let's just run out. Let's look at it a bit. Check Roche is still there. Yep, still there. Now let's stand on the high ground a bit. Maybe the Elements are going to try and do something
There's a push happening bottom that Elements are not defending. There's a push happening mid that Elements are not defending. I mean, OG are like, okay, Elements are somewhere. They're nearby. They have all this great vision down the mid lane.
If they allow OG to Roche, then it's just over. So they will have no way of stopping them, just running on that tier 2 top and then running to the tier 3.
They're just going to go in for the Roche now because they have to defend the base. Creeps are all inside the base. But man, Elements are like the only chance we can win those if we kill them in this fight. So they're going to go in, do or die now. Jump in right away. Silence immediate. Send up of Cole, and he gets blasted down with the Laguna. No chance to get anything off for him. As Swift Ending is just frantically trying to make it up into the high ground. He's going to get shot down from 3 different sides, and he's just going to be just massacred. It looks like OG are going to be able to get the upper hand in this game number 3, and they just throw in the towel knowing it is over. This is not going to be a 3-0 shutout. OG, your Boston Major champions, are looking to take it into a game number 4.
I think the point where this kind of turned around, or not even really turned around, but just kind of the game decided where it was going to go, was when they couldn't really do much with the first CK ulti with the Ags. He spent so long farming that item, 27 minutes, and then they took a fight, and then the illusions died instantly. Nakes got kited with the Soda Crest by Yapsor, and Visage just died again and again. And whatever snowball they had going on just kind of petered out. So, all in all, just generally well played from OG, I think.
And it might be just the thing they needed to be able to kind of slowly crawl themselves back into this series. Are they going to be able to do a 3-0 run after losing the first 2 games? We'll have to see. I'm Kyle Guy, that's Rhyme Dota. We'll cut to a small break. When we come back, it's going to be game number 4 of the Dota Pit Season 5 European Qualifier Finals. We'll see you soon.